honor Him with our bodies is by taking care of them and striving to glorify Him with them. That means that we're not making them impure and unclean, and we're not contaminating them with what we put on the body, with what we put in the body, and what we do with our bodies. The second habit that I want us to highlight is taking care of your mind. Just like taking care of your body, it's very important that we take care of our minds, and it might even be more important that we take care of our minds. The mind is very powerful. Everything that you do and do not do comes from here. A lot of our struggles with sin, a lot of our struggles with bondages begin in the mind. That's why Romans 12 verse 2 tells us not to conform to the pattern of this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. By changing the way that we think about things, it can change how we make decisions, how we move, how we react to sins, how we react to people. It can change how we perceive life and how we understand things. And here's how you can take care of your minds, renew your thoughts, and clean out your mind and life of things that are ungodly. First of all, taking care of your bodies. By taking care of your body, you are also taking care of your mind. Exercising and eating healthy is not just about our physical body, but it also helps our mental state as well. We become happier and better people when we are healthy. We process and analyze things better. We are more aware, more awake, more sober. They say that you are what you eat, and to an extent that is true. If your meal plan consists mostly of junk food, the result is that you become sluggish, you become lazy, you have this I'll do it later type of attitude, or you just don't feel like moving because your body is consuming too many things that are making it heavy. But when you decide to eat food that refreshes you, that nourishes you, and that strengthens your body, you become more awake, you become more energetic, and you actually want to go out and do things. So it's very important that we are exercising, we are keeping active, we are moving our bodies, and we are also watching what it is that we are putting into our bodies, because that affects our minds, that affects how we think, what we think, and how we do life. The second way that you can take care of your mind is food. Just like your body and how you have to watch what you put into it, you also need to watch what you feed your mind. Philippians 4 verse 8 says, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is pure, whatever is right, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." Watch the things that you are watching. Watch what you're listening to. Watch what you're reading. Watch what you're giving your time to. I need you guys to understand how much of an impact the kind of content you consume daily has on the way that you think and on the way that you see things. If you consume a lot of things that affirm sin, then you'll start to think that it's okay. You become desensitized to it. And in end, you'll end up doing things like engaging in things that you have no business engaging in. This is how bondages and chains and toxic mindsets are birthed. It's through the consumption of the wrong content. Many of you struggle with a lot of things because of what you're feeding your mind every single day. Many of us are in bondages, we are in prisons, we are in chains because of what we feed ourselves mentally every single day. For example, if you're struggling with lust, do some introspection and see what kind of content are you consuming. Is it watching things with half-naked people on it, watching raunchy and R-rated movies and TV shows, listening to movies that are constantly talking about sin, listening to music that is constantly objectifying the other gender, reading books with graphic imagery? All these things play a role in how you think and see the world, in how you think about and see other people. And it also affects the way that you respond to God. Try fasting from those things and see how often you still think about it. Remove things that affirm the sin. Remove things that affirm the bondage. Remove things that are not pure, right, noble, just, admirable, excellent, praiseworthy, and replace them with God things. That's why it's so important that we are reading the word every single day, because it helps us to cut out what is not of us and start filling ourselves up with what is of us. We are created by God. This is what God has for us. Let us consume what God has for us. Stop allowing other people to define you. Stop allowing other things. Stop allowing the things of the world to be who you are. You are not made by the world. You are made by God. So fill yourself up with God things. The third habit I want us to highlight, I just touched on it, is to pray and read the word. Pray and read the word. Joshua 1 verse 8 says, "Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful." Reading the Bible daily and taking what you learned and actually living it out. Put it into practice. Do what the Bible says that you do. Live it out. This is how we start to become better Christians. For example, we read in 1 Corinthians 13 on what love is, the characteristics of love. Love is kind, love is patient, it does not envy, etc. Try to be that for others. Try to be that with yourself. Try to be that with God. Practice being kind. Practice being patient. Practice being content. Reading the word will also help you take care of your mind. I just mentioned this. The enemy will try so hard to pollute your thoughts with things that aren't from God. And so the word helps us to fight off anything that's not of God. It helps us to guard our hearts. Pray. Pray consistently. Pray constantly. 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 17 tells us this, to pray without ceasing. Talk to God throughout your day. Tell him about the minor things. Tell him about the major things. Tell him about the things in between. But keep this conversation between you and God going. Always remain plugged in to the source of your everything.
So this habit of spending time with God consistently is all about making room for God in our lives. It's very important that we are spending time with him in prayer, in praise and worship, and in the word. Something else that I think can help us stay plugged into God and get us into the habit of spending time with him is for us to go to church, be active, and serve. Hebrews 10 verse 24 to 25 says, "And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another. Make it a habit to gather with others, but also note that just because you go to church, you attend Bible studies, you serve, that does not replace your own personal time with God. It's important that we are spending our own personal time with God, but we are also gathering with other believers. Jesus often withdrew from the crowds to go spend time with God. He would wake up early in the mornings to go and pray by himself and sit in God's presence, but he would also be gathering with other believers. He made sure that we understood that we need to have our own personal time with God and also need to fellowship with other believers so that we may also be encouraged in our walk with God. As we see others in their walk, it also encourages us to also want to do better on our walk with God.
Take some time to rest. Take some time to rest. Rest is very important for our spiritual walk, and is very important for just our walks in general. Luke 5 verse 16, it says, "But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed." Jesus would find himself, teaching to crowds throughout the entire day, performing miracles, but he would find time where he escapes from all of that and he goes off to a quiet place and prayed, and he spent time with God. He rested. I know that the world can be very demanding and require us to always be so busy with something. We have school, we have work, we have kids, we have this and that. But don't hesitate to take a rest every now and then to recharge. It's good to take a pause and a break from all the demands and the pressures of life. When you look at God himself, when he created the world in Genesis, he created something every single day. He did something every single day except for one day, and he rested on that day. And he even made it a point to add it to the 10 Commandments in Exodus 20 verse 8, where it says, remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. When you continue to read in verse 9 to 11, it talks about how God created the earth in days and he rested on the seventh day. Therefore, God blessed the Sabbath and he made it holy. The Sabbath is a day of rest. If God himself found it important for him to rest after a long week's work, a long week's worth of work, how much more do you need to rest from all the things that are going on? If God himself, the creator of the universe, the one who's bigger and greater than all of us, if he saw it fit, even Jesus, if he saw it fit to take time away from the demands of life and just go and rest and sit by themselves, how much more us? How much more us? There are many ways that you can rest. For example, you can just sit down and meditate on the word for a few minutes, for a few hours. Take a walk. Take yourself out. Have a picnic. Sit in your backyard. Read a book. Look at the clouds. Have a movie marathon, a TV show marathon. Have a self-care day. Where you just soak in the bathtub, put on a mask. But just do something that won't have you thinking about all the things that you need to do, and just relax. Relax. Have some downtime. Have some time where you will just rest. Where you're not gymming, you're not exercising, you're not thinking about work, but you are giving yourself time to recoup. You're giving yourself time, to get your strength up again. Share your faith with others, whether it's sharing a verse, a quick message, or giving a testimony about what God has done for you and how you came to find God. Find time to share your faith with others.